Okay, what we're going to do today is do a quick demonstration on how to install a clutch kit. And this is an Ulmer clutch kit on a 2011 Apex XTX, which has now just been made into an XTY. Custom. So what we have here is we got the clutch kit parts. We got the helix, the primary spring, secondary spring, the super tip weights, and Allen's instructions on what we need to put in and where and how to set the twist on the secondary. Basically what you're going to need is a 2.5 millimeter Allen, a 12 millimeter ratchet, a 10 millimeter ratchet, an 8 and a 8 wrench.
Good.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is take the belt off. You got to set the parking brake. Oh, we got her. And then what we'll do is, with the parking brake set that locks the secondary, you put the palm of your hand on the helix, push in on the helix while turning the inner sheave, and you'll see the belt. With your thumb, you push down on the belt, and the belt sinks down in the secondary. You push the slack out the side, and basically you bring it right out and the belt's off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the helix on the secondary, which would entail pulling these 3 bolts off or nuts off, and you have to be careful once you get down to the last nut. You got to kind of get a little tension on there, and I'll show you. So we're going to rip them off quick with a little impact. Of course, you don't want to put these on with an impact. We just pull them back a little bit. And you'll see the helix start to come off. And the nuts will get recaptured. I would suggest leaving 1 nut on and then taking it off final with the ratchet so you can kind of feel the tension. The tension of the spring. Just keep applying a little bit of pressure as you're pulling it off. Grab onto it, give it a little bit of twist and ease it off, and then you'll feel it come back. Here's Ulmer's billet aluminum helix and his spring that we're going to put in here. We're going to set this at 6 and 1. So you find your 6, you put the spring into 6, this one's going into 1, which on ours is 1 is here. So you put that in 1, like that, and you'll see you're out of kilter. What you want to do is you want to bring the ramp to the nearest button to the back. So you're going to have to take and turn and push in. It's going to take a little bit of force. That's why it's usually easier to do these right on the machine. There, start it on. And you can see, depending on the twist, there's quite a bit of load on it. So now what we'll do is we'll tighten that all down, walk them in little by little. It'll just ease its way down the ramps, the buttons and the ramps. And these are all lock nuts, so you just, give it a little bit like you would on any lock nut until it feels snug. Be sure to set your torque at 17 foot-pounds on each of these. And then we'll move on to the primary. So on the primary, we're going to pull out, I'm going to do it without pulling the actual whole assembly off, as long as it's got enough clearance to pull the cover and nothing's dragging, which it looks like everything's nice and centered. So we'll start taking out these. These would be number 10 or 10 millimeter. apply some pressure on it. The spring's going to have some tension. And then just pull the cover off nice and slow, and there's your spring and cover. At this point, push the sheave in, which will expose the bolt here, which is a 8 millimeter, and then this is where you pull or back out the 2.5 millimeter set screws. Alright, we're going to first back off the set screws. They do not need to come out. They can stay in, you just need to back them out. So we're going to take this little guy out. Pull that out. Make sure you got the nut. And then what I usually do is I have a little pin tool to be able to pull a pin out, which keeps everything in line. Alright, with that pin tool you kind of get the pins coming out, and then you have to pull the pin out and then pull the weight out, but be careful because there's going to be some little plastic washers, so you got to kind of guide your fingers in there and grab onto the little washers. There's your weight out, big chunk of steel. And you're going to take your new weight. Right here's the new weight, already set up. Alan sets it up for your riding style and basically whatever modifications you have in your sled. Alright, take your weight with the washers, slide it in. You got a little clutch pin tool. It's got a taper on it. It self-guides all the way through. Basically it holds everything in place. You take this guy, feed it from the other side, and it will slowly take its place as it's being pushed out. And there it is. Take and put your main pin back in. Get your nut on there. So once you put the pin bolt back in, you want to torque those to 4.3 foot-pounds. Once that's done, you just set your set screws back in till they touch the pin. Just snug them up, tighten them up against that roll pin, and that's it for setting the weights. After changing all the primary weights, fly weights, rollers are going to stay stock. We're going to put the cover back on. We pull it out. We have our new spring. We set it in place. Now here's a very, very crucial part about putting the cover on. There's an X on the cover, there's an X on the spider. Those X's have to be in the same place because of balance issues. So we line our X's up, we put her in there, we bring her cover down, we start a few screws. So we keep even pressure. And then we get all the screws put in. Alright, finally once you get all the bolts in, we're going to do our final torque on these. I recommend going back and forth, kind of opposite. This is going to be 10 foot-pounds for each of these. double check them all quick, make sure we got them all 10. And then we're going to put the new belt on. The new belt is the arrows go to the front, or if you don't have arrows on there, so you can read the belt. If you don't read the belt, it's on backwards. Basically, a sticker underneath. Got your parking brake locked. Same principle. What you're going to do is you're going to push in on the secondary helix and force the belt down with your thumb. And you push in, walk the belt around, push in, by turning the helix, the belt slides right on. Once the belt's on, you push the belt towards the back, push the slack, push the belt towards the back, push the slack. What that's going to do is it's going to seat it in nice and bring it right back out to the top so you're back like in first gear. That's about all it is to changing the clutch weights. Thank you for watching Totallyamaha Tech Session.